This is JB McConville, aka J Business. I don't have any allegiance, I'm just looking for the money. You're listening to the DU Football Show.
And Graham, you're going to need my help this week because I got the business in the fantasy league if you want to win it.
As long as I take care of myself, my friend, I'm good.
Okay, well, you're not normally very good at taking care of yourself. As referenced from last Monday night, let's start the show.
First place.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Great day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Looks great in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the Drunkard United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and across the Zoom waves up in Baltimore, Maryland, is my co-host, Mr. Samuel Graham. A little more sober this week here, stud?
A little more sober this fine day, but still flying high like an eagle, my friend.
You're a fucking twat. We're recording at Studio H, just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcasting platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, share with a footballing friend, or even follow now, apparently, on Apple Podcast. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Sammy, why don't you tell the good people how they can get in touch?
Absolutely. It's quite simple. Just follow us at DUfootballshow on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and then DUfootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email, which we always check. And we'd love to check our DMs as well, chat during games and stuff. Obviously, there's only one left, so hit us up on Sunday, if you would, please. And make sure you find our closed group, the Drunkard United FC on Facebook, which is where we do a lot of the banter, the old hashtag bants, as they say.
It's not what they say. It's not what they say at all. Oh, man. Maybe I just wish you were drunk again. Sam and myself will both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we've got to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Get a 2-for-1 on the old gin binge, Sam, because you're drinking one and I'm drinking one. So why don't you go first, my good friend?
Not a problem. It is an oldie but a goodie. This is the Baltimore Shot Tower Gin. Navy strength, comes in at 100 proof, which is a 50% ABV. This is distilled here in Baltimore, and it is a distilled gin, which we've talked about before. That means that the botanicals are actually in with the mash.
Right.
And they're distilled with the actual original spirit, as opposed to, for lack of a better description, giant tea bags being tossed into grain neutral spirit afterwards.
Right.
So this one is a twist on an old spirit, not piney like a London Dry, but our gin is sweet and floral with pronounced citrus notes, handcrafted in the heart of the greatest city in America. I actually like it here, but that is quite debatable.
Yeah, very debatable.
And bottled at Navy strength for our neighbors in Annapolis. This may be the gin that changes your mind about gin. And it is a lovely, lovely gin. It is produced by the Baltimore Whiskey Company. It is fantastic.
Excellent.
Citrus, like they said up front, goes great with just a standard. I'm using the Q Drinks Spectacular Tonic Water. So
Great
just
stuff.
a standard tonic with lime. Yeah, and it's lovely. It really is.
Very nice, very nice. And did you say how much it cost? I didn't catch that.
I did not. I'm sorry. It should run you about $45 to $49.99 a bottle.
Okay,
right in that sort of range. Yeah.
Very cool. So for me, I have a bottle of gin that's been sitting in my closet for a while now that I've been trying to figure out the time to try it. And I was like, fuck it, we'll try it tonight. Very interesting. It is the Gracias a Dios gin. This is actually made in Mexico. So the base spirit for this is agave, and it's actually smoked agave, so similar to that of mezcal. Now, you can't call it mezcal because you then infuse your different botanicals in it, which this one has 32 botanicals from the 32 different states of Mexico. So it's a different one from each state. None of which can you taste because it is nothing but a smoke bomb. It tastes like a mezcal. It really does.
I would love to try that the next time I'm down there.
Oh, absolutely. I think I can make something fun with this. With the tonic, it really just kind of it tastes like mezcal and tonic. It doesn't. There's no kind of juniper standout. Everything gets lost in the smoke of the agave, unfortunately, which is regrettable. Also regrettable because on the shelf, this is about a $65 bottle of gin. Yeah.
Well, mesquite chips cost a lot.
Well, agave costs a lot for a base spirit where corn and grain do not. They're very inexpensive. I just did it with standard Fever Tree, cold tonic, little fresh squeezed lime. I kind of wanted to let the gin be the star. And now I'm thinking of ways to make it into a cocktail that the smokiness will be the star and not necessarily the gin. I gotta say, honestly, disappointed.
It is what it is, much like Monday. Probably not your best effort.
Not my best effort. I think Jose says it best when it comes to efforts, Mr. Graham.
Didn't bring to the game, not just the basics of football, I believe the basics of life.
Now, the good thing is we tightened that up, so now I can use it more often. We don't have to worry about my team, not just the basic of football, Sam. You failed at the basics of life. How do you feel about that one?
Well, I feel like one of the basics of life that I did fail at was drinking responsibly.
Well done. Way to turn it back around. Well,
go fuck yourself.
Thanks. All right. Let's go ahead and get some clinks in here. Oh, we were able to produce a good clink. That's for sure. Ow.
Yeah, the one time I'm not there.
All right, so everybody, we're going to play a little snippet of something fun for you. We recorded on Monday. We had our good friend Ben from formerly of Chorley FC, the head groundskeeper of Chorley FC and only groundskeeper of Chorley FC, to now being the head and not the only. He has people that work with him, head groundskeeper at Accrington Stanley, which is a League One side. We have a big, nice interview that we did with him, and we were all ready to put it into Monday Night Show. And then Monday Night Show was an absolute train wreck. And we went, let's save the interview for here. So what we're going to...
You're welcome.
Yes, you are welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What we're going to do now is, through the magic of radio, producer Mel's going to play us talking with Ben about his visit to Wembley.
Even you men will think of Wembley and think how iconic is Wembley Stadium. Do you know what I mean? You're probably putting it up there with one of the best stadiums in the world. Obviously, the best stadium in the world comes with the best pitch. So as I turn up and that, prior to that, Carl got in touch with me. So Carl's he's the head groundsman, but that's not his title. He's better than that. He's kind of like the operations manager, etc.
Runs
the
the
pitch
whole,
and the stadium.
Takes care of the stadium.
Yeah. So kind of like if you men come over with the American football, it's got to go through Carl to see if it can be put onto the pitch, etc.
Got it.
So him and the FA got in touch with me, and they actually invited me down on Thursday night. So I stayed over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I was half expecting. Listen, I do it as a career, as you know, and that, but I weren't expecting to actually get stuck in how much I actually got done with the guys.
Right.
So on Friday, after I'd stayed over, London's a good 4-hour drive for me. So went down Thursday night, stayed over, and they got me a hotel literally stone's throw away from Wembley. So I was at Wembley at 9 o'clock in the morning. First of all, went into a meeting about the FA Cup final, with all the heads of the FA, etc., and people at Wembley. And then literally kind of jumped in and they said, right, come on, we're working. And I got out to Wembley the first night at 7:30 from 9 o'clock in the morning. The pitch was cut 5 times in 2 days prior to that. Well, yeah, so it was cut 3 times on Friday, twice on the day. It was marked out twice. It had brand new goals, brand new netting. Anything you can think of that pitch has had, just to make sure that it was absolute pristine. The only one thing that kind of went wrong, I was involved in a meeting. There was 4 full-timers, myself and then Carl. And the lads hadn't got the red carpet out because Prince William was there. So because of COVID and that, the groundsmen are doing everything. So the groundsmen are the ball boys while the game goes ahead. While the game's going on, the guys are the ball boys as well. And so kind of they didn't get to rehearse the red carpet. So I was in a meeting with them all. Carl's bollocking him, saying, "This is His Royal Highness. How can you fuck this up? Going to look stupid. Do you know what I mean? If it's live and all the nations are in, and he trips over the carpet, or it's not set out. Right?
He's a bit of fucking king shortly. Yeah.
He's going.
He's not far away from the fucking king.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet him at least?
Great, honestly, mate. He was using those words, mate. He was at it. This is the fucking future king, and he was fuming with it. and he actually stopped halfway through bollocking and said, "Ben, I apologise for this." And I'm like, "Don't worry about it, mate. Like, listen, he's the most important person in the world, really, isn't it? Don't mean the king of England. It's like, you can't fuck that up, get him bollocked, mate." So it was like, yeah, but other than that, it was unbelievable.
Did they at least let you meet him?
No, you can't with COVID. I mean,
well, I saw Wes Morgan at the end try to shake his hand.
Yeah,
and he said, "I can't," and they elbow bumped. Him and Wes Morgan did.
But then you also, of course, you saw the video of him when he was at the training ground at Villa, and you would have thought he was like a 10-year-old boy. Yeah. He was so goofy. He was just like falling over himself, talking to his heroes, and all the heroes are like, hold on. Yeah.
I can't read that.
I was saying that would be future king and Villa fan.
Yes.
He's as bold as my daughter is.
Yeah,
he's as bold as my 6-month-old.
Mel is a Villa supporter, so she's.
I remember. Yeah.
So you said you had to work 9 to 7. I mean, that's fucking nothing. You did 48 hours and didn't sleep with a frozen pitch. I mean, you looked at all of them where you're like, come on, what the fuk? I can handle this. Don't do this, kids.
Honestly, 9 to 7, he could have had the Guinness that everyone thought he had the first time.
Yeah.
He'd have been fine. What are you boys worried about? 4 o'clock, he starts popping Guinness. No issue. That's not a problem.
Well, I was 4 hours away in the capital of England, so I had nothing to do. Do you know what I mean? It was not like I could go anywhere. So, the day after on match day, we started at 8. We double cut the pitch both ways, so lengthways, widthways, marked it out, put the nets up, put the netting on, corner flags, etc. And then it was kind of like match day. So match day kind of like routine. So once the teams had finished, we was on Diverton. We had, I think it was about 18 casual staff come in also. So there was probably 26 of us working. So it probably doesn't show you at halftime, but there's around 26 people on the pitch, Diverton for 15 minutes. And then kind of after the game, we watched the celebrations because we can't get on the pitch, and then just cleaned it up. And I left Wembley about 10 to 10 from 8 in the morning.
How annoying were those long silver streamers? I have never seen confetti that looked like spaghetti. What was that about? I'd never seen that in my life.
To be fair to them, though, the guys who set it off actually cleaned all that up.
Oh, okay, good. So you didn't have to do that.
No, they do it also. Again, it's like because they brought it in with COVID and that. It's Wembley Stadium. Do you know what I mean? You can't get away with anything. So like you're going into the stadium and you're going through the barriers that detect metals. It's not just like you come to Accrington, you two can come in, have a cup of tea, have a beer, do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? But in Wembley, it's kind of like trying to get into Buckingham Palace. You can't get the security everywhere, etc. So,
I mean, it's not like getting into Old Trafford, which apparently is very easy to do for the supporters. They walked right the fuck in. Apparently, had no problem.
Not a problem. Yeah, what you worried about?
Well, did you see last Thursday? They tried it again, the fans, didn't they? They let the tyres down on the Liverpool bus.
Yep. Well, and it ended up not even being the buses. They used decoy buses, and then they tried to block
decoy
them,
buses,
and they sent. It was two. Yeah. It was, instead of being the Liverpool bus, it was the Liverpool bus that got the tires flattened. It was two black unmarked buses, and then they drove a different route to go in. So where the supporters were trying to block them from going in, the bus went around them and just went in another way.
I do have one question for you from me. I assume that you probably don't speak Flemish.
Flemish, what? No,
the Belgian language, the kind of Dutch, Spanish, French mix.
No.
All right. Did Yuri Tielemans?
I can only just speak English, Graham. Don't worry about that.
Did Yuri Tielemans send you a thank you note for the carpet you provided him to do his magic on? Because that goal was fucking brilliant and was made possible in my mind by Ben and Ben alone.
Okay, Ben, take credit for it. It's all yours.
Was that your area of the pitch to mow? Because that was.
Do you know what? I was sat right behind that goal. So at Wembley, you'll see they have the electronics advertising.
The advertising, yeah.
So that's where the ball boys sit, and I was directly behind that with all the Leicester fans literally on top of me.
Right behind you,
so
yeah.
So about 5 yards behind me is the barriers. Then honestly, just to hear the crowd, because it's been so long, it was honestly one of the best. I actually had goosebumps.
Oh,
because it was just tingling. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though there was only 20,000 in, 22,000, the noise was phenomenal. I can only imagine being sat pitch side when there's 90,000 on.
Right.
It's electrifying.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, just watching it on TV was not hearing the delay of the guy pushing the button.
Yeah.
It was a real crowd in real time screaming, and then the VAR decision later on.
Yeah.
When Chelsea's goal was disallowed, hearing them celebrated almost like a goal, the Leicester fans. It was fucking brilliant to hear people again.
So good. Schmeichel saved. Jesus.
He had two brilliant saves.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But no, you were spot on with that. Again, like I say, I'm sat under the Leicester fans, and it's gone from tears and crying to jubilation within a minute. I mean, they're like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, you just see Chilwell sprint over into the corner, knee slide. All Chelsea fans are singing, and then you look at the big screen, it just comes up, VAR, checking goal, and there's a moment of silence. And
there's
then next thing, Leicester fans are like,
yeah, get it.
Dickhead, like, giving all fingers and everything. And there's honestly, it was just so good just to be back to a bit of normality.
So Ben, just for you and doing just match day and the day before the preparation, did you just get a chance to just kind of stand there in the middle of the pitch and just take in what is like? I mean, let's face it, that is a view very few people get to have of that stadium. Plenty of people go to Wembley. Plenty of people have been there. No one stood in the middle of the pitch and looked out unless you've played or you worked there, and that's it. And that's only a handful of people.
Yeah, again, like I say, unbelievable privilege. Again, my background, a footballer, kind of failed footballer who wanted to maybe play at Wembley as a footballer, but to go on there and prepare the pitch for the biggest cup competition in the world for us English people is the FA Cup. Like, it's probably the next best thing. And I was just so much joy that he actually involved me in the match preparation. Because I'll be honest with you, like I said to you before, that's my profession. I'm more than confident to doing it. But when he give me a mower, I'm shitting myself. I'm like, shit, what if something goes wrong here? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you're so tense and that. And I've cut a football pitch a million times. I know what I'm doing in that, but I was just so nervous and thinking, I hope nothing goes wrong here, like one of the wheels drops off or scalps the pitch.
That's got to be such a weird feeling.
Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Just don't fuck up. You're painting the lines and you're like, this needs to be the straightest fucking line I've ever made in my life. I can't even cup. I can't scratch my balls. I can't do anything.
I can't even imagine, right? It's one of the most, but thinking about it, here in this country, we all have yards, really, for the most part. And so we cut grass once a week.
Yeah, all the time.
don't give a shit. It's just something you do normally with 5 or 6 beers. And then, you're just nothing. It's one of the most mundane things. I can't even imagine the pressure of fucking, this is insane. When I'd swear to God, I thought of you immediately when Tillemans hit that shot. And I was like, that is Ben's patch of grass. Ben did that.
Listen to this. I put them nets up and I'm thinking, fuck me, I hope they don't fall down in somebody's. But listen to, I'll show you a picture now. Let me try and, where's the screen on the eye? Oh, can you see that?
Can see it.
That's fantastic. Is that you painting the penalty spot?
That's me doing it. And I'm thinking,
That's
please
brilliant.
don't go to penalties.
You're like, this needs to be the most perfect lawn.
Absolutely.
It has to be perfect.
I'm like this,
anything
doing it, my
else.
hands shaking. I'm like this.
That is so brilliant. That is so good.
But that's what I mean about them involving me. Like, they allowed me to cut the pitch. I mean, every time they got the mowers out, right, Ben, jump on a mower, just follow me. We're doing this, doing that. Let me put the penalty spots on. We put the nets up, corner flags in. So I can't thank them enough. I mean, the only difference is kind of the attention to detail is second to none. Everything has to be precise.
Right.
And it's so intense. Listen, I love my job and that, but that was so intense. I got home and I had a headache, not from physically being tired, because like I said to you, there's 5-6 mowers going at a time. You're not just cutting one football pitch. Like one football pitch would take me a couple of hours, but it's like we're cutting a pitch in half an hour. It was just mentally draining. Do you know what I mean? Because it was so intense.
You think about it, the night that you're trying to unfreeze a pitch, it's probably like, well, either it's going to be frozen or it's not. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm trying. Either we're playing the game or we're not. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Doing the best I can.
The best I can.
The whole country thinks I have a Guinness when I really had coffee. Like, what do you want me to do? That's brilliant. I have one last question myself.
Please, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy obviously has a big reputation for throwing a party, especially.
Yeah.
I know there are COVID protocols, but I also know that Jamie fucking Vardy doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So did you or did you not get poured a shot of vodka from Jamie Vardy after the final whistle?
And unfortunately, I didn't, mate. But he did come actually over to our corner and that. And he was kind of like, you could see how pumped up he was. He came over and got one of the Leicester City flags and just walked back up. I'm sure he was necking champagne when I seen him.
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah.
Did he pull any Skittles out of his sock as well? He's known for that sort of thing.
Jamie Vardy might enjoy the occasional drink.
Oh, listen,
Jamie Vardy drinks more than us, and we have a show based on drinking.
Very true.
Yeah. Listen, there's not many people who are Premier League winners and FA Cup winners. So listen, I think he could do what he wants, can't he? So
absolutely,
I've no doubt he's probably still pissed now. I would be if I was him.
That's why I told you his God-given middle name is fucking Jamie fucking Vardy. That's his name.
Yeah, his Christian name is Jamie fucking Vardy. As far as we're concerned, that's his name.
Hey, Ben.
He does what he wants.
Did Jamie happen to have a little blonde chicken following him around?
I don't know.
No, so we have a bit. We have one of our chickens in our backyard. She's a blonde chicken. Her name's Kitty. Kitty picks a bet every single week, and it's always based around her being around a bunch of famous people. And one of the bits that we had going, because obviously Jamie is Leicester City, so he's a Fox, that Kitty and a fox were having a certain relationship, and that there would be like cans of Red Bull and bottles of Tito's spew across the backyard. So we can only assume that it was Jamie Vardy hanging out.
He does what he wants. He does what he wants. It's Jamie Vardy. He does what he wants.
Excellent. So, as the last thing, and then we'll wrap this up, as a fan and supporter of Wigan, what do you expect from the club moving forward? Is it to get yourself out of League One, get back up to Championship?
That's that Aussie rules team, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I mean, listen, I'll be honest, I kind of fell out of love with football at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's too many things, especially Premier League, there's too many things that's going on that's spoiling it. Like, the VAR situation's ridiculous, and it's kind of like, I don't know, everything takes too long. Listen, I'm all for things being right, but it's kind of like the interpretation. It's like, do you know what does me head in these sending offs? Like,
right. What's
couple of
like
them, yeah, absolutely. Mine is the toenail offside. It drives me insane.
These
the goals are the best
offside,
bit.
What's a handball? What's not a handball? The bar constantly changes and moves. What was a handball at the start of the season isn't a handball at the end. If this guy puts his spikes into your knee, it's a red card. But if this guy puts his spikes into your knee, it's not. It's very tough.
It's so tedious.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's like a couple of. I've watched a few games, and there's been like a red card. Then it goes to VAR, and it's still not a red card. And then the referee who's watching the VAR still gives a red card. I'm like, it's not a fucking red card in the first place. And it's because they don't want to feel like they're going against it to make it look bad.
Yeah, of course.
They just stay with it. And it's like,
I mean, honestly, and I mean no offense by this whatsoever. It's entirely your British politeness and awkwardness.
yeah.
The referee doesn't want to step on the toes of the other referee, and then everyone's doing handshakes and don't know how to act. And like, even in the U.S., I watched a DC United game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been last night against Orlando City.
Right.
There was a guy covering his nutsack on a cross. Right. So his entire body is in line. Ball hits off his elbow. And the DC United players, it's a handball. And I'm sitting on my couch. Well, that's not a fucking handball.
He's protecting
it's never
his
a handball.
balls.
It's never been a handball. His arms are inside of his silhouette. It has never once been a handball in your entire life. And it's like, what are you people asking for now? It's like the soul of the game is gone. No one.
It used to be deliberate, didn't it? Like, you would raise your hand towards the ball and that, but it's like you say, if it skims your finger, people shouting handball, and it's like all the interpretations are all wrong for me. But like, kind of going back to the Wigan thing, unbelievable achievement what's happened this year. Like, the heart and soul got ripped out of the football club because of what happened with the administration. I mean, we're selling future England internationals to Leeds United in Joe Gelder for less than £1 million, and do you know what I mean? We sold Jensen Weir.
Just to make some money back. Yeah,
he went to Brighton. We sold the kid to Tottenham, who came on and scored in the FA Cup, and that 16 years old. And you're thinking these are like players who's going to make us 10, 15 million pounds. And I think they've gone for less than 2 million between all three of them.
Especially the one to Tottenham.
Yeah.
Daniel Levy doesn't put his hand in his pocket. We all know that.
Well, yeah. So it's kind of like what Liam Richardson's done, and I'll be honest, I don't think he's a right man to be the manager. I'd rather have a well-known manager who's been there and done it. But it's kind of just a matter of a rebuild now for Wigan. We got left with no team, so we literally were getting in free transfers in January. Just anybody, he's literally picking anybody up off the street who could play football. Lads who were playing in Z teams for Barnsley and Rotherham. Like, we signed Zach Clough, he hadn't played a game for years. He was at Bolton, went to Forest. People like that, do you know what I mean? To be fair to him, he's done really well and just managed to keep us up, which is a phenomenal kind of big well done to him, etc. But I just think it was kind of, let's not give him the job, let's get somebody in who can stabilise the club, get some good signings in. And maybe pushing for promotion is a bit too much next year, but it's just about consolidating it. Listen, Wigan are fan base, town-wise, a League One football club. How we stayed in the Premier League for so long, I'll never know. I mean, it's a bit like Bournemouth having 12,000 seat stadium. They did unbelievably well, but kind of Wigan are probably lower end Championship League One football club.
Well, I didn't trust y'all's pitch years and years ago because of the rugby team, to be honest. And then I saw Newport County's pitch in the FA Cup against Manchester City. It was absolute potato patch.
Well, there
that place was
this year against West Ham where it was just standing water.
Yeah.
Like you would watch the West Ham players trying to go through the standing
There was
water.
more mud than there was dirt. It was terrible. But I do want to tell you, after what you just said, I do want to mention really quick, I only turned 35 today. Okay,
So you're younger than me. I'm 38.
If Wigan are taking any old footballer off the street for about 12 grand a week, I could be available. And I'm a hard-nosed center half.
Are you going to pick it up and throw it over your head?
Yeah. No, we've played on some shit pitches in this country. Trust me, I'll be fine with it. But I'm a hard-nosed center half. You come on, I'm in. About 12 grand a week. You broker it, I'll give you 10%, mate.
If you thought,
you can come and live with me if you want.
If you thought Gareth Barry would fancy himself a yellow, meet this guy over here.
Yeah,
like he's not accomplished till he at least gets a yellow and stands over top of somebody and goes, "Get the fuck up!"
Yeah.
Like he's not happy with himself.
Yeah, his nickname's Chopper Graham, I've heard.
Yeah, I think I actually am suited to Midlands football, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah. Hey, I'll talk to Lindsay a bit. Give myself a Brummy accent. I'll be all right.
Go get him. That's going to be
not
what
a
you're
problem.
Do now?
Yeah, I'll grow the top out too. I'll do the Peaky Blinders thing. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
it'll be totally fine.
Okay, sure thing. Until you get out there and run one time down the field and just go, "Whoop, not for me anymore. Game's passed me by."
So I'll be the experienced head in the locker room. That's what I'm doing. Yeah,
there you go.
I'll be the experienced head in the dressing room.
You're really experienced. That's for fuck sure. Ben, thank you so very much for taking the time and hanging out with us again. We'd love to check in with you throughout next season, see how the club's doing,
definitely.
see how you're doing, and all that good stuff. Just love chatting with you, brother.
Guys, listen, like I say, whenever you need me, give me a shout. I'm always here on the end of the Zoom call.
That's awesome, man. As I always say, it's never been more interesting to hear how grass grows. You're one of the...
Listen, it's a different perspective on the game. Do you know what I mean? Listen,
absolutely,
we've all got a equal part to play. If people don't keep the pitch in good condition, there's no football. So
absolutely, and I meant that as no disrespect. I am dead serious.
No, yeah.
I am dead serious. I have never been more interested to hear about this kind of stuff. You are one of the favorite guests that we've ever had on this show, and I consider you a friend, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, anytime, guys. Appreciate it.
Excellent, Ben. Thank you very much.
Right, thanks, guys. See you later.
How fucking cool was that again, Sammy, to catch up with Ben?
It was fucking awesome. Always a pleasure to talk to him. It's fantastic.
So we ended up going about 45, 50 minutes with him, and what we decided to do, we wanted to give the Wembley part of it to everybody, but we're going to do the full interview for our Patreon listeners. And Sammy, if somebody wanted to find Patreon, how would they go about doing that?
Very simple, actually. If you want to catch that full interview as well as Injury Time, which is our preview show, and Soundcheck, which is our pre-show, you could just go to www.com.
It isn't quite simple, is it? Apparently, it's very difficult for you.
Just search the whole internet. www.com. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
It's www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow and sign up to one of the top 2 tiers, and you can hear more of this nonsense. As well as that really good interview we did with Ben.
What do you do, Sam? You go www.com and then go, find me, Patreon, Drunkard United, please. Is that how it works?
Thank you, Grandpa. Yes.
Okay. Well done, Boomer. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the action.
You can also just ask Siri to find it for you, which is easier.
Or Althena or Alethea or Allegra or whatever you want to call her.
Or Hey Gogglebox or whatever.
All right. A great midweek outlined the race for Europe a little bit more as the Champions League is now down to just 3 clubs. Chelsea 2, Leicester 1, Liverpool 3, Burnley 0. Chelsea-Leicester ended up being an incredible match. I thought it was going to be a snooze fest draw.
Well, you know what's crazy about it is it wasn't even down to Leicester being poor or anything like that. Chelsea were just that fucking good.
Oh, they were clinical. It was contentious as fuck too, man.
Absolutely.
Both clubs were having to go. You could tell that FA Cup hangover was still like it was. Ooh, they were not playing nice.
Now, Thomas Tuchel, after the match, toned that aspect of it down.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, this is not revenge. We lost the cup. The cup is the cup. That's what he said. He's very much like bread is bread, cheese is cheese. The cup is the cup.
The cup is the cup.
I don't know what it is about that Chelsea hot seat, but it just apparently makes people fucking crazy.
Well, because they just know they've got about a year. Better fucking win something, because the minute you aren't winning something, you're probably getting fired. That's
fair. What was actually really crazy is Timo Werner looked on fire.
Yeah.
But 2 goals disallowed due to offside, really. Well, I'm sorry, 1 for offside, 1 for a handball. Well, and the offside was one of those very close, contentious kind of decisions as well.
When he's not, fucking it up himself, disallowing himself from scoring, apparently VAR gets him too, and the officials get him. So
absolutely. But it was actually Rudiger that broke the deadlock with his thigh, I think, maybe knee. I'm not sure. Wasn't the prettiest of goals, but he did get his hand out of the way, and it just hit his thigh. So it did count. And then Jorginho from the spot with a little hop, skip, and a jump, much like Bruno Fernandes, of course. And then Iniacho later on with a fantastic finish, honestly.
Yeah, and then it got real fucking spicy. A lot of build up. Practically a bench clearer, if you would want to say that. I mean, what is it?
Yeah,
Marty saw yellow for coming out of the stands into the coach's box.
Of course he did.
Mm-hmm.
He led the charge of multiple Leicester players and a couple of coaches as well, to no surprise.
I was surprised not to see a red in there.
Me as well. But, tempers are high. It's important. It's a big game. It will determine the Champions League. This particular game especially was both of their opportunities to clinch a Champions League place. And put the other in a situation where, I'm sorry, it was Leicester's chance to clinch.
Leicester could clinch. Chelsea could still, even after this big win, if Villa gets them, they could end up being in 5th.
Absolutely. So this was a massive, massive game. It was huge. There's no surprising thing that emotions were high and tempers flared, and Jamie fucking Vardy was in front of the group of lads coming down to, tell us all why they're lads.
Well, that was the most PG way I've ever heard you say anything on this show before, Sam.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Lads, by the way, in my language means fuckwads.
Heard. Very good. Let's move on to Liverpool and Burnley, and then we'll kind of talk about all three collectively as a whole here at the end. Yeah, I tell you what, Burnley didn't roll over. It wasn't like the 3-0 scoreline is not indicative of the game itself. Burnley played them tough, and Burnley showed fight. And in fact, I mean, there was a hell of a play. We'll get to it in a second. The goal and also the saved goal.
Absolutely, and it took Liverpool to, I think it was 43 minutes in to score, which was a bit crazy based on the chances they had, and Burnley had a couple of chances of their own, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then just after halftime, a few minutes in, you had Natty Phillips scoring. That very first goal took a long time to come for Liverpool. It was kind of cagey from them, to be honest. You saw the occasion was kind of getting to them.
Well, here's the thing, Sam. With the kid Phillips, this is what happens when you let the kid fucking play. This is what happens when you let Fabinho play his position, which is a holding defensive midfielder, and then you let both of the fucking center backs play center back. There's going to be mistakes, but then there's going to be games like this where he scores for you on one end and then clears it off the line on the other. And the only way they're going to learn is by fucking playing. So just fucking play them.
Now, I can't quite remember where it was from, but it was either a very low-level championship side or a high-level League One side. Can you recall where he came from?
I do not. I'm sorry, I do not.
Off the top of my head, I can't either, but it was one of those two situations. You always knew it was going to take time for him to bed in.
Right. He's not the Preston North End kid they just got. He's been with them from before this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the Preston North End kid.
Person.
Different kid. This is, I believe, an academy player for them.
Either way.
Yeah, of course.
Even still, either way, it's going to take him time to bed in. And you see with a few games now, a decent little run of games in the side, and he's starting to develop properly. He's starting to get used to the rigors of Premier League football and the pace of the game in general, which is a massive thing, especially in England. And he came up trumps. He came up good, and good on him. Well done to him, and I hope his career progresses.
So
I think you'll see him on the bench a lot next season.
Oh yeah. So what you have now is you have Chelsea,
or he'll be sold to Burnley to replace Tarkovsky.
Very good. Chelsea sitting in third. You have Liverpool now back in a Champions League spot since first time since February, and then you have Leicester sitting in fifth. So the way this ends up working out now is all three teams can win and somebody finds themselves on the outside looking in. Ties. I mean, this can literally, and the combination can be any two of the three going into the last game of the season, which is exactly what we live for the final games of the season.
Well, it's what we wanted, especially with the relegation places are locked up. The champions are locked up in Manchester City, obviously. So we wanted to see this European race was the race. This was the situation, right? Especially with Leicester winning the FA Cup. So if they finish in the Champions League spots, it's going to be different than if they finish in a Europa League spot potentially. There's a ton of permutations that can come out of this.
Absolutely. Very true. Now, for that being said, Sam, how do you think these final three finish?
That is difficult to say because they Leicester have Tottenham, which is not an easy situation.
We'll get to Tottenham. I think Tottenham's falling apart. I think Leicester's going to beat them.
I don't disagree. I think Leicester do win, but it's still a difficult game. It's a big club in England, right? A big club that's going to want to put right them letting their fans down against Villa, which we'll come on to. You have Chelsea. Can't remember off the top of my head who they're playing. Villa want to show that they belong there still, coming off a big win against Tottenham. Jack Grealish, after missing so much time, is now playing for his place in the England squad.
Absolutely.
As well. You have a few players in that team playing for their place in the England squad. If you look at Tyrone Mings as well, and then in the Scotland squad and John McGinn.
Absolutely.
So they're going to give a shit. It's going to be so tight. And then Liverpool have what, Palace or someone?
Yeah, Liverpool has Palace, who Palace loves to fuck with Liverpool's world.
They do, and it's also Roy Hodgson's last game in charge. So they're going to want to turn up for the guy that's kept them in the league for the 4 straight years, which is the first time in their history they've done that.
Yep.
And he's retiring. So also Roy Hodgson, former Liverpool manager. So that's the one probably disappointment you can point to in his managerial career, and where he didn't really leave under amicable circumstances.
Right.
It's going to be an interesting final day with these places. I ultimately think Leicester or Liverpool will pip Chelsea to the spot. Personally,
I'm thinking I think that Leicester's going to win. I think Liverpool's going to win. I think the question mark is Chelsea against Villa, and I wouldn't be surprised if Villa won.
Well, if
would not be. Now, my heart, of course, wants Leicester to win and Chelsea to win, and for Palace to fuck off Liverpool and Liverpool not to make Champions League. Because trust me, if they make Champions League, their fans are going to be relentless, and it's going to be, oh my God, like they won the fucking league, even though they had a horribly disappointing season in comparisons to the one where they were the defending champions, you know?
So right now, Chelsea are a point ahead, so Liverpool have to win to guarantee themselves. And if they do win, they will guarantee themselves. Leicester need to better Liverpool's standing because they're even on points by 4 goals,
right,
or more, to then to be in front of Liverpool. Should they both win, Chelsea, if they win, they're in. Period, because they're a point ahead of both of them. It's as tight could be.
And we're about to get into even more tightness in just a second.
Do what?
I did that one purposely. I wanted to see what your reaction was going to be. 1 Europa ticket and 1 ticket to the new Europa conference spot is sit for 4 teams, maybe even 5 teams, if an absolute miracle happens. Leeds 2, Southampton 0, Everton 1, Wolverhampton 0, Villa 2, Spurs 1, Arsenal 3, Palace 1, West Ham 3, West Brom 1. Bielsa's got the boys fucking playing. They could finish in fucking 7th place. They could finish in 10th place. I mean, they've played themselves right into this.
I think plus 14 is a bit out of their stretch.
Right. I was going to say, but if anybody could somehow figure out how to make up a plus 14 goal differential at the end of the season, it's fucking Bielsa, and he put up 5 on West Brom. So,
yeah, and remember, it's only a 14-goal swing,
right?
So he only has to score 6 or 7. The other teams just have to lose by 8.
Right. It just the only problem there is everybody has to lose. So
correct.
for the greater whole, this is 4 leads. It's a fantastic story. If you finish in 10th, you're happy as hell. You finish in a European spot, you're fucking elated. Like
either way, it's a fantastic story for them because they stayed up with a system that Bielsa is known to crash around March.
Right.
And in a truncated season that's been so tightly contested, Leeds have actually thrived. They've done very well for a newly promoted team. I mean, it's no Wolves, obviously. But Wolves had that situation where they had the super agent filling the roster with rejects of his own clientele, which no one's ever done before. That's not like a normal thing.
Yeah.
So this is really the best that Leeds could hope for.
Oh,
honestly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you got to be over the moon if you're a Leeds
Wolves
supporter.
was an anomaly. Yeah. And the fact that there's still a possibility of European football is mathematically possible. Let's start there. It's not,
it's not going to happen.
Likely.
If it does happen, I can tell you what we're leading the show with on next Monday, Sam.
No shit. But to go into the final game of the season with a mathematic possibility of that, guaranteed safety, and likely a top half finish, actually guaranteed a top half finish, is Villa are 4 points behind them.
Yeah.
So a guaranteed top half finish.
Yep. No matter what, they're at least 10th place.
Yeah, absolutely. Even for Villa, as high as they were flying earlier, and I'm sure we'll come on to them as well. Even for Villa, surviving on the last game of the season last year to now being in 11th, I mean, that's how many strides forward. And really, it all came down to losing a lot of those games in hand because they were right in and amongst it, up until 3 months ago.
Yeah. Now, moving on to Everton and Wolves. Toffees find a way to win, despite the Wolves having the bulk of the control of the game. But one would say that's what Everton has become this season under Ancelotti, is the 3 center backs, especially when they're healthy, Mina, Godfrey, and Keane, just shutting things down, having Holgate and Coleman on the wings, and then go, Decore and Allen in front of them, and then just go, okay, Richie and Dom, go win us a game. Maybe it's James behind you. Maybe it's Sigurdsson behind you, but go find us a winner. And it's worked because while Wolves might have had control of the game, Wolves had a few opportunities, but not anything to really scream at, You
can thank David Luiz for that because no Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
And that has completely curtailed Wolves season. And luckily they put up enough points on the board prior to his injury that they were probably safe anyway.
Well, they've
also figured out how to get a result or two here or there to make sure they stayed up. You came into the very fortunate circumstance of the way I saw this was Wolves way more than any other team for as much football as they've played over the last 2 seasons. And with that kind of yes, everyone had a break, but no one was allowed to do anything. So there wasn't really any keeping fit or match fitness. They weren't allowed to train. They weren't allowed to do anything. So there was no preseason really to speak of. There was no anything. And Wolves started playing, remember, in July of 2019 because of their qualification to the Europa League. But it was only the qualifiers, not directly for the group stage. So they've played way more football. And Nuno, famously, we've talked about many, many times on the show, likes a small squad. So you came into, that brings me to my point finally. They came into the very fortunate circumstance that more than any other team, Wolves cannot wait until Sunday is fucking over with.
Yeah, they need a fucking break. That's for damn sure.
They are over it. And the worst part about it for them is Jorge Mendes, the Portuguese super agent, filled the team full of Portuguese players. And a bunch of those players will be playing at the Euros this summer. Absolutely. So really next season, my predictions for next season are going to be a bit off the wall with the way that Wolves have performed, because their players have not had a proper break in about 2.5 years.
Well, and then also who is Nuno still even there? That can mean a lot as well.
You know what I think?
Players are still there. Yeah. But
you want to know what I think?
Oh, Nuno to Spurs. Yeah,
you nailed it.
And one thing,
you know me so well.
I do. We got to keep it rolling. We're already running long. But one thing worth mentioning, Ancelotti was very critical of the team's effort against Sheffield this past weekend. Richarlison was a fucking madman. I mean, by the time that hit the 70th minute and then Everton was holding on for the win, there wasn't a frame in the screen where you did not see Richarlison. Offensively, defensively, left side of the field, right side of the field. I mean, the man was a lunatic. And big credit for a, quote, star player, the kind of, he should be the finesse guy, he should be the style guy. Credit to him for just be like, fuck this, we're winning this game, and just being everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, I think European football means a lot to him. Yeah. I think he that's what he joined a bigger club for.
Absolutely.
And that's what he's after. So, and he needed a goal. I mean, we talked about it last week. I don't know if I talked about it Monday or not, but I know I said it the week before. was Richarlison is one of those players in the league that's like, God damn, that guy needs a goal. Mm-hmm. And he finally got it in this game. And it showed. He was the Energizer fucking bunny. He did not stop. That goal provided him with every ounce of energy he had for the rest of the game.
So keeping it rolling, Villa's still fucking.
They are still fucking. They are still fucking. Although fucking big time, and I love to see it.
Although one could say they got a big assist from the Spurs because Tottenham was fucking pathetic.
Well, and specifically Serge Reguilon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that own goal was horrible.
No, it wasn't.
One was a goal and a mistake.
Fucking lovely.
Yeah, there was an own goal, but we don't care. We'll fuck with help.
Outside of the boot to the far corner.
Yeah. It was he hit it perfectly. The problem was he hit it into his own goal. Perfectly hit shot. It was
fantastic. He was lined up to play it to the far corner, opposite side of the pitch, and it comes off the end.
And Dyer with the horrible mistake to give up the second goal for Ollie Watkins. And then the second half, I mean, Mel, it was all fucking Villa. They're putting kids out there. They're hitting the fucking post and they're like lunatics.
I don't want to mispronounce his name. I was practicing it and I didn't get it. Chamawaki?
Yes, I think that's it.
Villa player, in fact, 17-year-old made his Prem debut and within a minute almost had a shot on goal. Hit the post.
Hit the post twice. Not once, twice.
Was he one of the boys in the squad for the FA Cup defeat to Liverpool?
Yes, he was.
This is his first senior debut, though.
Oh, okay. Then no, he wasn't. Yeah. Then he wasn't part of the FA Cup squad. If this was his debut, then no, he was not part of that. He was in their
under 18 squad, but 17 years old, and he apparently is the next hot commodity.
Well,
can you believe Tottenham fans there live paid £60 for that shit? And had to sit in the upper decks above all the sponsorship banners.
Right, because you got to keep the sponsorships out there. You got to keep that going. And then
chocolate, by the way, chocolate.
Yeah, booing Spurs
for like 40 minutes after the game,
booing them nonstop. And then Harry does his kind of walk around, which is, his way of saying, hey.
Well, he handed in a transfer request.
Yeah, like I'm moving on. Easier said than done. It's gonna cost over $100 million, and we've got plenty of time in the next 2 weeks to talk about that whole thing. Mason, after the game, first question is about Harry Kane. He's like, the entire week I have been answering all of your questions about Harry Kane. And the first question you want to ask me when we're trying to play to gain a spot in Europe is about Harry Kane. That's it. I'm done. I'm not answering any more questions about Harry Kane. We can talk about the match. That's it.
Hey, Mel. He seemed to have the notepad out to talk about Jurgen Klopp and, was taking notes about how Jurgen Klopp handles interviews. So I just want to point that out.
Notepads are helpful.
and then the big thing is they go into this weekend probably playing the hardest match. Like,
correct.
They're playing a team that is playing for their Champions League lives. Like everybody else, like, okay, yes, by law, Everton's playing a tough match because they got to play City. City don't give a fuck. Like, City's already won the title. They're worried about the Champions League. But
that's the thing. That is the thing. Their players care because they're trying to play themselves into the Champions League squad.
Right.
None other than someone named Rodrigo, who had one of the most horrific back passes in the history of the Premier League.
We will get to that in a moment. We'll get to that in a few seconds.
But I did real quick before we say anything else. We always say something about Marvelous.
Yes.
And his pass to Sergio Reguilon for that first goal was excellent.
Not marvelous?
It was marvelous.
Very good. All right, so on to yours. We got to keep this rolling. Roy gets a guard of honor before the match, which was absolutely fantastic, and a big handshake and hug from your manager, Mikel Arteta. Fucking class on your guys' part to take part in that.
Absolutely. It was kind of like a retirement party, though, where you celebrated the entire party, and then right at the end, before you leave, you kick the guy in the nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. The big question I want to ask you there for Arsenal is Pepe, is he finally starting to get it?
I think he's finally starting to settle. Absolutely. He some very lovely play in this game. Two goals, obviously. The one in stoppage time in particular was brilliant. Very close control, good strength to hold off the defender, and then a lovely finish into the far corner is fantastic. So hopefully he can hit the ground running next season. I think with restrictions opening up a bit, he'll be able to start actually experiencing life in London and see that there's things out there and not just be stuck in his house miserable. So hopefully that's kind of the key, because part of the reason people come to London is for the nightlife, right?
Right.
And if, he's a young man, a very well-to-do man based on his wages, and, he should be able to go have dinner at a fucking restaurant if he wants to. And now he, hopefully it'll help him settle. But it was a decent performance from us in general. Palace made it tough. Ben Kay getting free again. Ridiculous defending from Arsenal. He's trying to play himself into the Belgian squad, obviously.
Yeah.
He's got 7 goals in the last 8 games or something ridiculous.
Credit to Palace. They have fought for the last 6 weeks. They have looked hard. They played every game tough. Like, this is the exact opposite of the Palace we have seen for multiple seasons. And it may be because of, players playing for a job. It could be. They could be trying to impress the next guy. They could be trying to impress the club. But it's noted. This is, when you're a team that's in the middle of the table, this is what you ask of your fucking club to do for you at the end of the season, is at least fucking care.
Absolutely. 100%.
Wild match with West Brom and West Ham. I mean, 40 seconds in and there's a fucking penalty.
Yep.
Soft as fuck penalty. Antonio was doing his best Mo Salah. Hold on. Allow me to, the keeper's right in front of me. Allow me to jump into him and hit the deck. I mean, it's a foul. It's a foul. It's a penalty. Smokey, I don't want you yelling at me. But that was the softest fucking, that was so Mo Salah, Sadio Mane. It's not even funny. I mean, his arms were in the air as he was falling into Johnson. He was like, oh no, and falling on the ground.
Mel, please.
He was like Rebecca Lowe.
Yep.
Oh no.
Why do you instigate her like that?
Because it's brilliant.
Fucking mute button.
What?
All the mute button.
All
No
the
more.
mute button?
You fucked with our girl Rebecca. Fucking mute button. Stop it.
It was a bit strange, that decision, to be honest. In my opinion, you know who wouldn't have been happy about that? Sam Allardyce.
Well, Sam Allardyce wasn't happy about a lot of stuff, and he was more than willing to tell us about it at the end of the match.
He's above that.
Yeah,
I feel like, just based on his post-match interview, which we'll come on to momentarily. But Thomas Souček getting back amongst the goals, which was nice.
Well,
for West Ham, of course.
Twice. Unfortunately, one of them was in the back of his own net.
That was legally given to Mateus Pereira.
Oh, they did finally go back, because at first it was listed as a own goal. I'm glad to see that, because as you and I were talking about it on the phone, I was like, that was on target. Like, it was on target. It skimmed over his head. It went into the, that is an own goal. That's not an own goal. Like, if it's going into the net, it's a fucking goal. And credit to Pereira.
Souček's in my fantasy team, so that is lovely.
That helped your numbers.
Lovely scenes. Lovely scenes. But so Souček got the goal, and then obviously Ogbonna with a nice header, and Antonio with literally what you do in training as a striker to finish.
Yeah,
Someone gives you just a little dink right inside the 18. He even slowed his stride down.
Yeah.
And then went for perfectly far post. Yeah. And all the time Smokey's like, he's not a fucking striker. He's not a striker. It's like, well, he's listening to the coaches, because that is like, you literally pick up like the what are those books?
How does a striker score a tech book? Like, how do you score?
Yeah, that you get it like Barnes
as a perfect
and Noble.
striker.
Like
Strikers for Dummies?
Strikers for Dummies. That's the one. Yeah, Strikers for Dummies. And that is like the 3 pages are there. Left foot, right foot, left foot, bang.
Yeah, very simple. A topic that I'm going to want to talk about in 2 weeks when we do our prediction reveal, Sammy, is start to think about it now. 5 best transfer signings of this season. And I dare say Souček's in that top 5. Because remember, he was on loan. He was a permanent, and I think he's definitely on that list of the top 5 best signings of the season for a club.
Absolutely has to be.
All right, Big Sam, got to talk about it. So we're not going to get into the details of him leaving the club. We'll again, we got 2 weeks to talk about that over the next 2 weeks to review that.
Hey, listen. I can't talk about a team that's already down because I'm not a rebuilding guy. Okay?
Oh, that's right. Very good. Fucking, what an asshole. Well, what I do is save club, except for you didn't this time, you fucking pompous prick. And then again, because, Sam Allardyce never holds any fucking grudges whatsoever. Didn't hold any grudges when Everton beat him and talked about how he would have been the best manager for that team and he's better than Ancelotti and blah, blah, blah. Or, it hasn't held any grudges with anyone. Just goes, oh, by the way, someone should have a talk with Mikel Antonio. He's very disrespectful. We don't have any big players. We don't just hoof it down to big players. Both of my guys are under 6 feet tall, so he should stop worrying about what our team does. He's not worried about what your team does because he fucking scored on you and they beat you 3-1.
It's like, what are you talking about? I think his blood sugar was low because one of my favorite stories of Sam Allardyce was during an interview in a taxi. He was sat in the back. And Sammy Lee, his longtime assistant, was sat in the front. And during the interview, the journalist was next to Big Sam. He said Sammy Lee was just handing him Werther's originals from his pocket back to him. So I just like to think that this interview was basically Big Sam's big sugar was low. Because Sammy Lee wasn't there handing him candies.
Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Fulham 1, Man U 1, Brighton 3, Man City 2, Newcastle 1, Sheffield 0. Fulham at least is going down swinging, man. They're going down swinging.
They should have won that game.
Yeah, they look great. They really did look great. It's United's got second place locked up. They're worried about winning Europa. That's all they care about now.
Absolutely, yeah. But that Cavani goal should not have been given. Mm-hmm. It's one of the prettiest goals of the season. I can understand why it was given. The fans back. Everyone needs something to be happy about. The VAR, it was a beautiful goal. So the VAR goes, there's no way I can't not give this.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Definitely Bruno Fernandes got a touch. When they zoomed in on the regular television replay, Bruno Fernandes did not get a touch. And when was it De Gea in goal? When he played that ball, Cavani was offside.
Yeah, so offsides.
It should have been an offsides, but it was a gorgeous goal. There's nothing you can take away from it. It was fantastic.
Right. Just a shame. And Fulham, like I said, Fulham looked decent. Again, we've got opportunities to talk about Parker over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully this helps kind of solidify this is your guy. This is who you need. And there's really not much more we can say beyond that about that match.
Only interesting point, though, and again, we can expand on this in the next couple of weeks, is Joe Bryan, the guy that scored, one of their stalwarts in the championship last season that did not get a ton of playing time this year because they brought in so many players again. And he's one of those players that seems to have that, or at least everyone feels about him, that he has that cusp of not being a Premier League player, but a damn good championship player.
Right. Well, nice to see him get the goal. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So City take the lead, like you expect they would against Brighton. Then suddenly they see a red, and you're like, ooh, hold on. Let's make it a little interesting. And then they start the second half, score. You're like, okay, they're up 2-0.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine, right?
I didn't even really worry about them since they had the lead. Once they went down to 10 men, I was like, this is going to be fine. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, they're a professional football club.
Phil Foden comes out with a toe poke for the ages.
Yep.
It was fantastic. And for all of the wonderfulness of his toe poke and how gorgeous it was and in control of his body and like knowing physics and everything, we then get the winner from Dan Burn.
Hold on real second. I want to let you in on a little thing here. This is exactly what happened. Graham Potter, realizing the team was down 2-0, needed a little bit of inspiration. He called up to the press box and said, hey, to the PA guy, he was like, need you to play our new fight song. Play our new fight song. We're going to be all right. This is going to inspire us. So I just want to play for you real quick from the stadium what the fight song they played was. Right here.
In my way downtown, walking fast. I'm a seagull. Go fuck yourself.
And next thing you know, it's 3 goals unanswered, fucking 3-2 fucking win. I'd like to think as Dan Burn, you're talking about his goal and his legs flipping all over the place, that was what was going on in his head. I'm a seagull, go fuck yourself as he's kicking it in the net.
Yeah, it had to be because I actually wrote this. I said, a notable puppet being controlled by a child, Dan Burn, finally scored after he sorted his feet out and found the far side.
What a weird fucking game, huh?
It was very strange. But obviously the back pass from Rodrigo, which we spoke about before, had a lot to do with Brighton's comeback.
Yep.
As he gave the ball directly to Leandro Trossard, who danced his way, two-stepped his way all the way into a shot. And then Adam Webster with a decent header to equalize as well in 72 minutes. Well, and then again, one of the most comical things I've ever seen, I am going to mention it the third time because it was that fucking funny, was Dan Burn like going haywire for a second. He looked like static.
Well, yes. Well, I can tell you again, Rodrigo was distracted by this.
In my way downtown, walking fast. I'm a seagull. Go fuck yourself.
I'd like to think when he laid on the ground in celebration, he was just belted out.
So Dan Burn laying on the ground, and he says what?
In my way downtown, walking fast.
That's as he's falling over.
Seagull, go fuck yourself.
Falls back.
Yeah, but all the foreplay happened in his head. And then just came out
as he's falling on the ground.
Yeah.
Tidy win for Newcastle. I like to think that the fans of Newcastle are going, making my way downtown, eating a never-ending Possibles. Mike Ashley could go fuck himself. Do.
Yeah, basically, what they're trying to do is trying to figure out how much they can pay for Joe Willock and what we'll accept. Is what they're trying to do because he's been their top scorer over the last few weeks.
I guarantee you, Willock is already saying to his agent and saying to the people at Arsenal, "Don't fucking sell me to Newcastle. Do not. No.
100%.
No."
What he's saying is sell Lacazette to Newcastle or sell Aubameyang to Newcastle.
Yeah.
I can play up front.
Yeah, let me play. Please let me play. Do not sell me to Newcastle.
Exactly.
You know that is exactly the fucking case. It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time. All right. The chicken missed. Graham, you missed.
Yep.
But Pat hit, and your boy hit 2 in a row, baby. All right.
Yeah. Good for you.
You ready for your last ditch effort, Sam? You have Eclipse Mount 2000. You're at minus $2,065. What cockamamie shit do you have to try to pull out a last ditch effort win?
So I was debating on whether or not to do all 10 in a parlay just to beat you by about 15,000, but I decided against that.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I was going to go with my standard 4-game parlay.
Well, I mean, all 10 would have lost.
At this stage of the season, it's always difficult to predict what's going to happen.
Right.
But I think I've got a good one here. Manchester United to beat Wolverhampton, Burnley to beat Sheffield United, Leicester to beat Tottenham, and Newcastle to beat Fulham. And those 4 straight wins in a parlay will bag me plus $4,310 on a $100 bet.
On an only $100 bet? Really? Wow.
Yep. Manchester United and Wolves were both rated in the positive, which was the strange one.
No shit. Yeah.
And so were Burnley and Sheffield. So those are the 2 that kicked up the odds, obviously. It's a long shot.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit.
You know the one that's going to bite you in the ass? Fulham.
Burnley and Sheffield, probably.
Fulham, just because it's there. It was the game that was supposed to save their season. Watch them come out and beat the shit out of Newcastle, especially because Newcastle's been on a roll. Just to fuck with the Newcastle fans, just that much, you know?
Right. Yeah, it could be. You're absolutely right. It could be. But, of course, it may not be. And I'll be $2,000 to the good.
Heard.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend, Pat's Pick of the Week.
Patty, you hit again, my brother. Well done.
He saved those last 3 toes.
Yeah, it got me. It got me back to where I was last week before everything went to shit. So I'm back at like 1220, minus 1220. Yep.
So
wait, I have a quick question. Excuse me. What do you mean before everything went to shit? Minus 1220 is normal? Is that what you're saying?
No. Before what the $200 bet I lost on Manchester United against Liverpool, and then the $100 2-game parlay, which on Sunday Aston Villa freaking fucked me. So yeah, everything.
Oh, yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
All right. Well, so for those of you who do not know, Pat is a avid golfer, and he heard about the Tram Shamacrity that was Sam Graham's birthday. So, Pat, I leave the floor to you. Please talk away to Mr. Ego.
What course did you get the Eagle on?
So we played at Walden Country Club in Crofton, right on Rydell Road. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah. I've never actually played it, but I know the course. I drive by there all the time. Also, par 5, par 4.
It was a par 4, just in case anybody's unaware of that course or didn't listen to Monday's show, because I was a bit of a train wreck, which is fair, and I fully admit and accept responsibility for. It was a very short par 4, dead straight. Couldn't get any straighter than that. And the sign read 297 yards. Not exactly sure how long it was. Probably played about 270. And I put my drive 5 feet from the pin. And then Houston tried to fuck with me, and I didn't let it get to me. I stayed strong mentally. And, I just knocked in that 5-foot putt like fucking Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying?
I said, Pat, I said to him, I was like, I look forward to you missing your eagle and birdie putts as I walked away.
I mean, but that's me. You know how many par 5s I've been on in 2, and I just walk away, 3 or 4 putts for a par and bogey, because when you're at the par putt for 3 feet, you really give a shit.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. And second thing I wanted to bring up is how happy are we all Marylanders? June 1st, sports betting's finally fucking here.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Isn't it fucking great?
Yeah, Maryland Live is got their little what used to be their concert hall. It used to be Rams Head Live, was sponsored with them, but they left. That is apparently supposed to be like their sports book / sports bar kind of thing. That is the perfect
location for it. I was wondering where they were going to put it. I haven't been to Maryland Live since before the pandemic. My last time might have actually been with you, Sammy.
Oh, okay.
It's been that long. So, yeah. That's awesome. That's a perfect place to put the sports book. I mean, it's got the perfect seats and everything where you can put the screens up against the backdrop and
that giant stage, the whole nine. Pat,
well, I think they're completely redoing it. I think it's meant to be like a sports bar, and then you'll have your own little kind of cubicle, if you will, to be able to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I believe it's like touch screen betting and stuff. It's not like a bet window. You sit at your table and you bet your match while you're
that's right.
Yeah.
But they did partner with FanDuel, and FanDuel is the one that got the first online contract in Maryland.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so it's going to be FanDuel doing it. Very good.
So it's going to be FanDuel running it, yeah, and they got the online thing. So from the FanDuel app, I haven't actually looked at FanDuel since we did the single day fantasy stuff back in the day.
Right.
I haven't actually logged on to FanDuel to see what it's all about yet.
Right.
But apparently they're the ones that have the online contract in Maryland to start off with.
Yeah, very good. Well, and then we'll have to talk to FanDuel. See what we can set up a little betting segment. Sponsorship, baby. Sponsorship.
Yeah, all for charity, of course.
Yeah, of course. So,
right. Charity as in AKA my bank account.
Remember when men used to get in cubicles to give money to a woman named Charity?
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Oh, I only remember getting into masturbate to porn on my phone.
Heard. Excellent. Anywho.
Maybe she was named Charity, but she got no money. I'll tell you that.
That's DU After Dark. Anywho. Pat, are you going to go for broke this week?
Oh, buddy. Oh, see, like Sammy, he always likes to bet small and parlay and to go big. Me, after a long, terrible weekend of missing all my college football and NFL bets, and all I've got is that Sunday night football game left, and I'm just trying to get even. What do? I just match what I'm lost to. So that's what I'm going to do this. I'm just going to bet on one game. I mean, I was texting with you earlier, and I was just looking at the spreads, looking at the games, looking at the history, looking at who needs to win the most, and who do I think is really going to cover a spread, And I came up with I'm going to bet 1,200 on Leeds minus 1.5 goals. I think they still want to have a chance at finishing above 10. I mean, if Arsenal ties, they're at, I think, 59 points even. Tottenham could freaking definitely lose too. So I think, and they beat West Bromwich, 5-0 earlier this year, and they've been winning all their games. I think the last 3 games they've won by 2 or more. So I feel good. I'm gonna bet 1,200 to win 1,240. That will put me, or 1,260. That will put me up $40, and I'll be able to go out and get a 30-pack and a pint of Fireball and celebrate on Sunday night.
There we go. Fucking love it. Perfect, Pat. Perfect.
And you just guaranteed that I won't finish in last.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or I'll finish in last. I'm going,
Yeah, because Sam's only betting 100, so he's got great odds on his parlay. So he'll only, you'll be sitting in the last place spot. Oh, all right, Pat. Well, this has been a great segment this year, and I look forward to doing it again with you next season. Okay, buddy?
Absolutely. We will talk soon, and don't forget, you still got that winning ticket to take up to West Virginia with me sometime. So give me a call. Let me know when you want to go.
That sounds perfect. Would love to.
We're almost getting on to a year on that. You might expire before you go collect.
I still got a half a year. We'll get it done over the summer. That's definitely gonna happen. We got it.
All right. Sounds good. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
Have a great night, brother.
You too. Bye.
All right. So I hit, and I'm very slowly chipping away at my pile, and I'm now down to only a minus 935.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Sam, did you know 25.6% of the time it works 100% of the time, Sammy? I'm fucking coming back. I can feel it. All right. You know what? Normally, I would just say, hey, let's take it easy. Don't do anything too crazy. Just finish above Sam. Fuck it. I'm going to take a big one. I'm betting with my heart. Give me Everton to win at plus 600. Fuck it. I'm throwing 200 on it. Make it Everton to win at plus 1,200, and I will end up in the good. Oh, there we are. Going for it, baby.
All right. Everybody going for broke, I see.
And if I miss, 1135. Okay. I still beat all of you, so it doesn't matter.
until I win, and I finish $3,000 ahead of you.
Yeah, it's not going to fucking happen. Now, that was a pretty decent segment. Wasn't bad at all. But you know what's better? We give you Kitty the chicken.
Well, Kitty missed with Man U, and so she sits at 19-19 with the final match to see if she's over or under 500.
Uh-huh.
This week, for the tiebreaker, I gave her Man City hosting Everton.
Uh-oh, this is not going to go well for me.
Very quickly, Kitty showed me a flyer for an impromptu concert in our backyard this past weekend.
What, while we were out running errands? What the fuck? Come on,
were
Kitty.
You there?
No, I was not there.
This is kind of some bullshit. Apparently, she followed it up with a video of Noel Gallagher playing Z-Cars out of tune.
Oh, what a dick. That's the kind of shit one of the Gallagher brothers would do, isn't it? And fucking play my team's fight song out of tune.
And he was having a laugh, and out of nowhere, Liam joined him on stage, and they sung Blue Moon together.
In my backyard.
Yep.
Oasis got back together.
Yep.
And sung Blue Moon in my backyard.
Yep.
God, you can't fucking hate on that.
Kitty got a selfie with both of them, and her and Gertrude danced the night away. So clearly, Kitty and the brothers were having a go at Big Sam, and Kitty is picking City to beat Everton.
Fuck you, Kitty.
Well, as always, everyone, please do remember to gamble legally and responsibly.
Back on top.
Yeah. Well, it's a 3-team race, so let's just worry about the 3 teams.
So we are us, and all of DU Nation supporting me, which I appreciate. Back on top after my 40-27 win over Kenny, and David Geckel taking care of JB 25-22 in a nail biter, and Rob as well 44-40 over Ray. So that sets us up for a final day of me on 73 points with kind of the medium goal differential of the bunch, Ray on 71. And JB on 70 with the highest goal differential, JB. So this is going to be quite interesting. I take on Lindsay the final day of the season. JB takes on you, which I need some help from you, which I know after my 181 votes in the Maryland Podcast Award host third place finish is going to be difficult to see. I'm surprised if you wouldn't start everyone else. And then Ray, playing notable participant Alberto Torres. So it is going to be quite interesting. No change at the bottom. Firecock is still providing us fantasy golf updates next season.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, Sam, I'd like to say it's much like when you hit your eagle on Monday that you let everybody know about. I jokingly tell you I'm looking forward to your eagle miss and your birdie miss, but in all actuality, I'm rooting for you to win. And I have set a strong lineup to play against JB and hope to get the W on him.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it would help me greatly, obviously. So there are, much like the European places, a giant amount of permutations that could happen based on our point differential and everything else. It's going to be a very interesting final day of the season.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. A long one, but we wanted to get that interview in with Ben as well because it was just really fantastic. Sam, you got any parting words for us?
Big Sam, not you.
Right.
Don't be a cunt.
Big Sam Allardyce.
Yep.
That's impossible. Don't worry. Some team's going to be faltering next year. They'll fire their manager and they'll hire him and he'll do it all over again.
Exactly. And, get ready for Sunday, man. Get the beers cold. Get everything prepared. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday is going to be a fucking cracker.
If you're local, come by Region Ale over in Canton, nearby you, in fact, Sammy. I will be there to watch the Everton-Manchester City match with the Baltimore Toffees. Very excited. Going to get my scarves and all my good stuff with the Maryland flag logo in it. They look fucking brilliant. Really excited about that.
By the way, we may have a little snafu in the Poconos trip.
Oh, so you might poke your head in then?
I might poke my head in on the way to the Abbey.
Okay, that sounds good. I love it. Very good. Very good.
Let's see my people for my game.
Excellent. Well, real quick, Sam, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and take over your parting words and throw out some parting words myself.
Well, you can't take anything over because I'm done.
Nah, okay.
You can't fire me. I quit.
Excellent. About 4 weeks ago, I did the Football Neophytes show, which is an interesting pod because it does, it's basically brand new fans of the Premier League go through a season, kind of watching the whole league and pick their own team, right? Kind of what team speaks to me, how do I enjoy everything? And they go over it each week. And I got the pleasure of doing the show 4 weeks ago because Kyle, the current main guest of the show, is down to his final 4 teams. And those
That's pretty cool.
4 teams were Everton, Leeds, Chelsea, and Manchester United. Now, I'd like to say I did a phenomenal job selling Everton Football Club. The problem was I went first. So then everybody else goes and you just kind of forget, right? I just want to remind Kyle of something. If you become a fan of Everton, it will touch you in a way no other club has. You will hear the drums and fife of Zed cars playing through Goodison Park. And the chills will go over you as you watch not just any football club, the People's Club, march out of the tunnel. And in America, we're a growing brand. We are growing leaps and bounds as a fan base goes. And you live down in Florida. You know what? You decide to become an Everton fan, the very next day, I'll send you the link. You can buy Everton gear that has Everton Miami or Everton Orlando on it. Polo shirts, pullovers, hoodies, the whole 9. None of those other clubs do it. You know what? Great. The Leeds guy's English. Accents always work. We're dumb men. That's how it works. At the end of the day, not a liked team. Chelsea, you might have had the nicest guy ever pitch Chelsea. Bunch of racists, and they're really bad people. You don't want to be fans of them. And Manchester United, when it comes down to Manchester United, there are 3 teams with a curse word in their name. Arsenal, arse. Scunthorpe, cunt. And fucking Man United. That's what you have to look forward to. Come be part of Everton. And as Tim Howard once said, I got to play for the biggest club in the world. But at Everton, I got to play for the greatest club in the world. So I hope you choose us, my good friend. I hope you choose us. Thank you so much for joining us, boys and girls. Next up is Injury Time, where we discuss the beers we were drinking. We're going to talk a little bit about Championship, League One, and League Two playoffs as well. And then we're going to preview the final day's action. Sammy, if somebody wanted to find our Injury Time, how would they go about doing it?
Give me 1 second. Good pod you were on. Michael Jackson touching people. I think I got everything I need for Injury Time, which you could find on www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow. And sign up to one of the top 2 tiers where you'll get Sound Check, you'll get Injury Time, our pre-show and preview show extras, as well as that really sweet full interview with Ben Kay's, the head groundskeeper of Accrington Stanley, and also, as I'm told, actually mowed the piece of grass that Yuri Tillemans hit that absolute fucking banger from.
I just think you're bitter that he didn't pick Arsenal as one of his 4 clubs.
I heard that the Fulham Michael Jackson statue got moved outside Goodison Park is all I heard. They touch you good, Everton do. They touch you good.
All right. Anywho, till next week, everybody.
Good night.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Stump of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United! Get the fucking mute button.